Here we are at question number 9 of Logical Reasoning Drill Set 2 from lawhub.lsac.org. And we begin reading the question stem as it says, the claim that the problem of widespread food shortages is less one of supply than of efficient distribution of the more than adequate supplies that already exist plays which one of the following roles in the argument? So I'm going to highlight plays which one of the following roles in the argument as the task, because we're trying to find the role of this statement. But I'm going to highlight the statement itself in pink so that I can find it as well in the paragraph, knowing that I need to highlight the conclusion of the paragraph and I need to highlight the relevant statement we're trying to determine the role of in pink so that I can differentiate the two and relate them to each other if necessary. So I'm going to select my yellow highlight first because I need to focus on the conclusion as always with any argument task at the outset. So the use of crops that have been genetically altered to enhance yields and reduce susceptibility to pest, drought, and disease is unlikely to reduce the problem of widespread food shortages. The problem is less one of supply than of efficient distribution of the more than adequate supplies that already exist. More food is produced per person in the world today than has ever been produced more in recorded history. Now, looking at this paragraph, we hopefully recognize that the opening sentence is the main conclusion, and everything afterwards is really in service of that main conclusion. But I need to highlight in pink this subsequent statement that we're being asked the role of. And that subsequent statement is directly intended to support the conclusion that the use of these genetically altered crops is unlikely to reduce the problem of widespread food shortages. And the reason is that the problem isn't about supply, it's about distribution. And that is directly supporting our main conclusion in this argument. So, starting with choice A, and it really doesn't matter for elimination purposes whether you go back to the yellow or the pink. If you're not being specific in contrasting colors, you probably can just use any color, especially in the answer choices when you're not dealing with an accept task. But for choice A, it presents the view against which the argument is being made. Well, there is no view against which the argument is being made. It's some word salad, but there's no like alternative presented. So we can eliminate choice A. Next, we've got choice B. It supports the main conclusion of the argument and itself is supported by another claim. Well, yeah, that's it. I mean, it's what we predicted. It's how we've highlighted. We know that this third statement supported the second statement, which is the claim at issue, which supported the conclusion, which is the main conclusion in yellow. So everything for B lines up, and you should be able to select B pretty readily. Now that we've proactively selected B, we should move more briskly through the remaining answer choices to expedite our approach for the whole section. So choice C, it is definitely not the main conclusion. The yellow is the main conclusion, not the pink. It is a generalization from which the argument draws two distinct but related conclusions. There are not two conclusions, there's just the one conclusion in yellow. And it is not an elaboration of the argument's main conclusion, it is support for the argument's main conclusion. Don't overthink these method of argument tasks. Instead, just effectively use the highlighting tools to identify the conclusion and identify the statement that is at issue, and you'll be much more effective and accurate in solving what is, for many people, a more complex question type in the logical reasoning section of the LSAT.